Occupational violence has been identified as a key risk for Queensland Health employees. Violence against healthcare workers is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Violence within healthcare facilities is an increasing phenomenon, and while factors common to studies in society at large are useful, there is a need to tailor programs addressing violence and aggression specifically to the healthcare setting. This is a Queensland Health orientation for occupational violence prevention and management, and is mandatory viewing for all Queensland Health staff.
Benjamin Miles?
Queensland Health has zero tolerance to violence in its workplaces. Employees should not tolerate violence and aggressive behaviour towards them. Occupational violence and aggressive behaviour is any incident that occurs when individuals are abused, threatened or assaulted in circumstances within the course of their employment. Aggressive behaviour can often occur in two ways. Firstly, an aggressor will have thought about using a level of aggression to achieve a desired goal, such as quicker service.
You are joking! You are kidding me, aren't you? This is bullshit! I've been waiting here for 3 hours. This joker just walked through the door now and you let him straight in. I need to see a doctor.
Sir, just please calm
No,
down.
I will not calm down. 3 hours I've been sitting over there in that chair. I need to see someone now.
Secondly, an aggressor will react to a situation caused by emotions and lose control.
You are joking! You are kidding me, aren't you? This is bullshit!
Excuse me. You're not permitted in this area until you call.
My baby's in here somewhere.
I understand, but no family members are allowed.
No, you don't understand. I keep asking questions and nobody's going to tell me anything. My baby's in there somewhere and I need him.
You can see your baby as soon as the operation is done, okay?
That's not good enough.
The majority of aggression in the healthcare setting is reactionary, so it is important to focus on the emotional need rather than the expressive behaviour. Examples of workplace aggression come in many forms, such as verbal, physical or psychological threats, intentional physical attacks, aggravated assault, including sexual harassment or assault, unreasonable expressions of anger. A key element of the Queensland Health Plan is that of care. As an organisation, Queensland Health is committed to caring about and protecting the health and safety of everyone. Not merely from the most obvious of dangers, such as illness and injury, but also from behaviour that could physically harm, intimidate, degrade or humiliate anyone. This commitment is underpinned by state legislation, such as the Queensland Work Health and Safety Act and regulations, and the Queensland Criminal Code. Queensland Health's commitment is to provide all staff and volunteers with an environment free of threat, and it takes a zero-tolerance approach to violence in the workplace. To locate these documents on QEPS, open the Internet browser and go to the Occupational Health and Workplace Safety webpage. Several work areas and situations are recognised as having increased potential for aggression, and therefore the chances of being involved in aggressive episodes increases proportionately in these areas. work involving cash or drugs. Inside the emergency departments. Maternity and paediatric wards, particularly when working with other services, for example child protection or police. Working alone or after hours. Contact with people who are disturbed, in distress, or may have a predisposition to violence. Risk assessment is an ongoing dynamic process in relation to change. The following risk management principles are designed to support the delivery of healthcare and improve patient and staff knowledge through early identification, prevention and protection from post-incident management of aggressive incidents. If any employee believes that their personal safety is at imminent risk from violence or aggression, then they have the right to withdraw from an area. Violence and aggression is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. All incidents must be reported. Effective clinical management of individuals displaying aggression as a direct result of a medical condition is balanced with the safety needs of staff, patients and visitors. Employees have the right to defend themselves or others using reasonable force if assaulted. An occupational violence risk assessment will have been completed for your workplace. This determines appropriate actions to be taken to prevent, protect you from and manage occupational violence. This is the risk management process. Step 1. Identify the hazards. Hazards are identified by conducting an audit of the workplace, reviewing incident and injury reports, consulting with health and safety representatives, and obtaining information from employee surveys. There is also a need to provide quick fix solutions, immediate strategies or advice such as door access controls. Step 2. Assess the risk with existing controls. All hazards are assessed to determine risk factors, effectiveness of controls, and identify and prioritise control strategies. Step 3. Decide appropriate additional controls. Decisions regarding additional controls will be implemented to eliminate or control the risks. Step 4. Implement agreed control measures. All control measures are implemented and communicated to staff. Step 5. Monitor and review the effectiveness of the controls. All occupational health and safety risks and control measures are monitored to ensure they are implemented and effective, that they are being used correctly. The staff are aware of the measures and have received instructions and training as required, and no new hazards have been introduced to the workplace. To control occupational violence risks, the following preventative and control strategies are implemented into local procedures and systems of work. This approach will provide a safe workplace to ensure the safety of all employees. Work design. The fundamental idea of crime prevention through environmental design, or CEPTED, is that it's possible to creatively design environments in ways that lessen or prevent the incidence of crime. The layout, aesthetics and fittings in an area can greatly affect the behaviour of people. It is therefore essential that the design of the space is carefully considered in context with the purpose for which it is intended. Areas where people are required to wait for prolonged periods should be well lit, have good seating and amenities, good ventilation, available refreshments and diversionary items such as television and magazines. Areas where people are not encouraged to gather should not facilitate loitering. For example, have no seating, no attractions, good lighting and surveillance. Space where people are encouraged to gather should be appealing. Landscaping attractions, good seating, bright colours, and be well managed, safe and controlled. Areas that staff can access only should not be accessible to unauthorised persons. Work system design includes restricting access to staff work areas, displaying posters advising that aggression towards staff will not be tolerated, and having access and availability to security, such as supportive response measures. The aim is to identify potential aggressive situations early, and may be calling security or the police for support.
No,
Code black in admissions waiting room. A patient is threatening staff with a weapon. I need security here now.
State code black, your location and type of threat. In your district, emergency response procedures and numbers may differ, and you will need to speak to your line manager regarding emergency procedure of alerting either code black teams, security, or contacting the police. Community engagement includes media and marketing campaigns addressing expectations of service deliveries and appropriate standards of behaviour in consideration of the community and cultural needs.
You may not have to come here at all, which will help us get on with our first priority, saving lives.
Patient Violence Risk Assessment. Each district will have a system of identifying patients who are abusive and violent. There are certain situations where restrictive practices may be required. Speak to your line manager. Where required, appropriate training is available to ensure the safety of staff and patients. Based on the risk of the occupational violence within your department, training is available and will include one or more of the following courses: awareness training, communication and de-escalation, basic personal safety, including physical skills training, restrictive practices and team restrictive practices. For further details, contact your local occupational health and safety unit. Occupational violence and aggressive behaviour and the controls in place to manage the risks must be communicated to all potentially exposed staff. Lessons learned must be shared to help promote continuous improvement. It is the responsibility of all staff to report all incidents and effectively manage them. Reporting helps to assist in identifying trends and developing strategies of prevention. These incidents must be reported to your line manager as soon as possible. Following an aggressive incident, time is taken to review the clinical management of patients, such as medication, clinical handover, incident debriefing. There are circumstances when an incident occurs that the Queensland Police Service may need to be notified. As an employee of Queensland Health, you have obligations under the Work Health and Safety Act and the Code of Conduct. For further information, contact your local Occupational Health and Safety unit or access the Occupational Health and Safety website. You do not have to tolerate violent and aggressive behaviour towards yourself, and you have the right to expect to work in a safe and healthy work environment. An immediate strategy is the SAFER acronym. This acronym can be used when you are confronted by a situation that has the potential to develop into an aggressive incident. S. Step back. This reinforces the reactionary gap between the staff member and the aggressor and gives opportunity to slow down and not rush in. A. Assess the level of risk, danger and what the problem is, the circumstances and the people involved, as well as available help and escape routes. F. Formulate. Plan the initial response and put it into action. E. Evaluate. To see if the plan has worked. If not, it may be necessary to change strategy by reassessing and formulating another plan. R. Respond, reflect. This is the immediate response and reflection to the aggressor and self-reflection of what happened, what could be done better or differently, team reflection and reporting. Always remember that all staff have the right to withdraw from any situation where they feel they may be at risk. Queensland Health is committed to protecting and improving the health and well-being of all employees and their immediate family members by providing post-incident counselling through employee assistance, especially after a critical incident. The goal of employee assistance is to help you to have a happier and more productive work and personal life. Our purpose is our people, our focus is you. All occupational violence incidents must be investigated and reported using the Workplace Incident Report Form and appropriate controls implemented. If an incident is traumatic, you can obtain support through Employee Assistance Crisis Response Services. For further information, please go to Crisis Response Service Employee Assistance. Queensland Health's commitment is to provide all staff and volunteers with an environment free of threat, and it takes a zero-tolerance approach to violence in the workplace. You should refuse to accept violence or aggressive behaviour towards you or others. You do not have to tolerate violent or aggressive behaviour, and you have every right to withdraw from any situation where you are or might be at risk. Reporting is essential so that Queensland Health can review and better understand the dangers that staff may face. Please contact your local occupational health and safety unit for further information, and your line manager or supervisor for local induction. Also, consult with the Patient Safety Centre for further information. You'll now need to complete the Record of Instruction form and have it signed by your line manager or supervisor.
Mrs. Thornton? Thanks for waiting. Doctor's ready to see you now.